No problem.
Okay, ready.
Ready.
Ready. All right.
We'll do one more and then roll it out.
Ready. Some things can't be rushed.
Okay, let's roll it out.
Is that it? Looking in. 3, 2, 1, and out. I'm Tom Sanamon, and I've been working at Lucasfilms for 5.5 years building animation puppets. I'm a stop-motion animator, so what I do is I build and animate puppets.
My name is Joe Fulmer, and I'm a stagehand, sometimes second assistant. And my main function here is to stay a couple of steps ahead of the law, which in this case, these three guys.
My name's Pat Sweeney, and I've been at Lucasfilm now for about 3 years. And it's been a real experience for me because I've learned a lot of different things. And when you're working in special effects as a cameraman, you get to do a lot of different things. You're not just stuck on the camera shooting. You get to help with the lighting and the sets and put in your input in a lot of different areas. So it's as close as you can get to making a film yourself almost, just working on special effects. And I found this place to be really good for that.
Not too bad, huh? Not such a bad place to work.
Excellent place, excellent.
What were you all doing before you were doing what you're doing now? Were you in a completely different field, or were
We worked for the government.
You have to, most of the people here at Lucasfilm come from a variety of disciplines and things, and it's almost, and lack of discipline, and everything you've ever done on the outside is useful here, whether you were a con artist or a welder, or, and Mike does a lot of engineering and machining and things that you couldn't get away with in another outfit. And I used to be an iron worker, and a chicken cutter. Yeah, these guys have had a lot of different backgrounds, different education and stuff, and you can use all of it.
how do you all get along working together?
Can't stand them.
I wanted to sit over here. But
You see this white guy over there? The reason I'm way over here and he's over there is...
Somebody did something wrong, huh?
Well, we do, you know. I mean, we're a crew, and there were like times during, real tense times during like Indiana Jones, where like somebody be in a bad mood or somebody had a problem or something, like the other three guys, you just kind of cheer them out of it, you know. But it was neat. I mean, it was fun.
What would you say is the most exciting thing about what you all do?
It's different on every project we ever do. Every day there's a new challenge and a new problem and new frustrations and new people, and you never get bored.
Is there any kind of advice that you'd like to give to young people who are thinking about getting into the business?
Stay out and get a job.
Stay out.
You mean the special effects business? Or the
Yeah, the special effects business.
What Joe was saying a little bit, you know, there's a little cartoon we have that I want to be a special effects technician when I grow up, so I'm taking biophysics and engineering and chemistry and
Carpentry.
and psychology and machining and welding and molding, and it's the truth, because the more a person knows, the better, the more valuable he'll be as a special effects person. Because Tommy not only sculpts the models and the puppets, but he animates. And you paints and he can do all sorts of things. And Joe here, well, he does anything you want him to. He sets up the light.
Anything. Absolutely anything.
But the more you know, the better chance you'll have of being valuable. And you just have to make sure that when you're preparing yourself to do this sort of work, that you always do the very best at whatever it is you're doing, whether you want to do it or not, because the only way to get jobs in this business is to know somebody that has a job already. And if they see you working and they see you working hard and you do a good job, then they'll remember that. No one wants to hire somebody that doesn't try hard.
As supervisor of ILM, what is most important in encouraging a healthy staff attitude?
Well, I think that the most important thing is that we have a real healthy work environment, and it takes a lot of hours. People have worked together for a long time, and we try to take care of everybody's needs. And what's also very important is that we try to choose very carefully the projects we're going to work on, so that they're very good films. That's really the key thing, is having a project people have faith in. They really feel like they're making a contribution to something that they're going to want to see up there on the big screen. And I think that's what's really kept us going and kept us on top of our field, is having the opportunity to work on some really interesting films and give people a challenge.
車借りたの？まあね。
何言ってるのよ。レンタカーなの。
ああ、日本レンタカー。
日本レンタカーは車種もいろいろ。レジャーにもお仕事にも用途に合わせてあなたの足としてご利用いただけます。
レンタカーが足代わり。なるいね。
ご予約はクイックナンバー0919で。
未来への鼓動、躍動する現代。明日を目指す人々に主な空港や駅で価値ある情報を送り続ける日本ビデオネットワーク。
I'm the general manager of Lucasfilm's computer division.
And how many years have you been with Lucasfilm?
About 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
I see. We have heard that EditDroid is a new development in the computer division at Lucasfilm. Who decided on the name EditDroid?
George did.
Did he?
Yes, he did. As you may recall, the droids are, at the beginning in this scene, but the droids are friendly creatures, mechanical friends, who help human beings better perform the tasks they have at hand. And so we thought the only possible name we could give to George's editing system was EditDroid. We actually produced our own idea of what an EditDroid would look like. And there he is.
It shows the man relaxing, and EditDroid is
There's the
cutting.
editor. There's the editor performing his creative function. And here's EditDroid cutting the film, working with the video disc and the tape.
Great. Maybe that's George Lucas in the picture. Why and how was EditDroid developed?
Well, basically, EditDroid was put together for 2 reasons. One was to
make the editor's job, is essentially a creative task, much easier to do than ever before. And also it was to make it possible for editors to do things they'd always wanted to do, but never really were able to do because of the constraints that traditional process of editing had imposed on them. They never, for example, were able to have many different versions of the same scene at the same time, but this system allows them to do that.
I notice we have 3 screens here. What is the screen on the far left-hand side?
Well, basically, the screen on the left would be used to take a look at the source material, or dailies, the original clips film that comes in from location. The center screen is used to preview the edits that the editor has made. So when you've cut your material together, you basically call it up there and take a look at it in widescreen aspect ratio. Sort of like you're sitting in the back of the theater looking at the edited piece being shown to the audience. This screen over on the right is the screen that's tied to our computer, the computer that controls all of the process. And what it's used for is to maintain notes for the editor, display information that he finds useful, and it's used as an aid, so he can search through his material and find particular shots and ask to have them called up so he can take a look at them.
And whose idea was it to develop this kind of machine?
It was George's idea. As you may know, George does an awful lot of editing himself. Spent many years hunched over a moviola, editing on a small screen. And he always dreamed that he could harness technology to let him perform his creative job much more easily than been able to before.
My name is Jim Kessler. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of Sprocket Systems, which is the post-production division of Lucasfilm. And we do all the picture editing and sound development and editing for Lucasfilm productions, as well as some outside productions that we've worked on. The most interesting part about Sprockets is that we're in the post-production end of the film process. And to me, yeah. Well, it's a point where the film really starts to take shape. It's a real interesting part. All the other, from my perspective, I consider it data gathering. They go out and shoot a lot of footage, and it really starts to get put together in the post-production process, both in the aspect of picture cutting as well as sound cutting. And I feel that the sound adds so much to the film, and it lends such a tool to the filmmaker to be able to express different moods and great textures and things that just blank film isn't able to cover. So I think we add a lot to creation of the film, and I think that's really interesting. I think the post-production part, for me, from my perspective, is the most interesting part of the film process. The process of applying film, sound to film, is very tedious.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
It's a very labor sort of intensive and machine intensive process. It also goes very slowly. It's a process by which one thing has to be added, and then another thing has to be added, and then you begin to see it build. And it's not really until what we call the mix, the dubbing mix of the film,